Started by me sharing my screen with you, and we're going to start by looking at a hand from last week. This was board 9 from last Thursday, which those of you who played may remember it. And I was looking at this one because everyone was pretty much in 4 hearts on this one. Some people didn't quite bid game. And although the computer says that you can make 6 hearts on this, that's what that little 6 means, only 2 declarers did, and only 2 declarers got the top score. You can see that for bidding and making 4 hearts plus 2, you get a top score of 15 out of 1. But if you only bid 4 hearts and just make 1 overtrick, that's 11. And if you just make 420 for not making any overtricks, that's an average score of 8. Of course, those people who didn't bid game, or those persons who went down in 4 hearts, did even worse. So I wanted to look at this one played in a variety of different ways, because I think it indicates some errors in the way some of you are approaching some of the hands. Let's have a look at it played this way. I quite like the bidding on this one. 1 heart by south, 1 spade by north, 2 clubs by south. And bidding 2 suits like this should show 5 in the first and 4 in the second. Now North knows there's a heart fit and will support hearts. And with 10 points, I think I would bid 3 hearts there, and South goes to 4 hearts. So do interrupt me if you have any comments or questions about that. Everyone on this was played in a heart contract by South, and all the Wests led this ace of diamonds. So let's have a look at this from declarer's point of view, and let's try and make a plan. And the steps you should go through when you're in a suit contract is invariably to look at the hand from the point of view of the hand with the long trump suit, but taking into account all the strength in dummy. Try and work out how many likely or potential losers you have. And that's in fact the first poll question for you, which is going to come up in a moment. Looking at the south hand, but taking into account all the strength in dummy, how many potential losers do you think you've got there? Okay, so have a little think about that, and in a moment I'm going to launch a poll, and you can tell me how many losers you think you might have. So here comes the poll. Are you ready for it? How many potential or possible losers do you think you've got? And the overwhelming majority have gone for 2, 88%, with 1 person going for 1, 1 person going for 3, and 1 person going for 4. And I agree. I think you just have 2 losers here, 2 potential losers here. And they are, well, in spades we're missing the ace, so that's 1 definite loser. And we're also missing the king of hearts. So we might lose to the king of hearts. We don't have any diamond losers because we can rough diamonds in the long hand, and we're extremely unlikely to lose any clubs. We've got 8 clubs, including the ace, king, queen, jack, so it would take a 5-0 club break for us to be in danger of losing a trick there, and even then we might be able to discard it on the spade. So I think we start off with 2 potential losers there, and in fact the way to avoid the heart loser is going to be by finessing. In other words, we are going to at some point get to dummy and lead a heart towards our hand, and if the king is on our right, we can avoid that heart loser. However, I'm going to look at how this was played in different ways that declarers went wrong on this hand, and let's have a look at this first one, where, as I said, everyone led the ace of diamonds and everyone roughed that. Now, this particular declarer, having won the first trick with the 5 of hearts, led a heart from their hand. And playing hearts in this way is basically guaranteed to lose a trick. You're just giving up a trick. You're not even trying to stop the king from making a trick. Sometimes I ask players, why did you play that way? And they say, well, I was trying to force out the king of hearts. Well, indeed, you are forcing out the king of hearts, but you're allowing it to make a trick. So this is not the right way to play this, but this is how it was played on one occasion. This declarer did indeed force out the king. Then back came a queen of diamonds, which declarer ruffed. And then they started drawing trumps. Now, at this point, let me just bring up the 4 hands. Declarer has drawn some trumps, 2 rounds of trumps, but there's still a trump out. He's still got the 6 of hearts. So it's actually correct for declarer to stop drawing trumps at this point because they need to set up the spade. So at this point, if I click, for example, on the GIB button, it will show me that if I were to make the mistake of drawing the last trump now, I could be defeated by 1 trick. I can make an over trick if I start on spades. In other words, force out the ace while I still have a trump in my hand to prevent them running the diamond. So this declarer did actually do the right thing at this point. They played the king. Now the king lost to the ace. Back came a diamond, which declarer ruffed with the ace of hearts. And at this point, things are pretty good for declarer as long as they draw that last trump. Unfortunately, they didn't draw the last trump, so they, for some reason, maybe forgot about it or played their other suits, and so East got a ruff there. Whatever they came back with now, declarer can win that one, and now the rest of their hand is finally good. But this declarer made only 10 tricks on that one instead of making the 12 tricks that were possible. Do try and maybe have a question about that. So what did declarer do wrong on this one? Well, they didn't finesse in hearts. They let the king win, and then they didn't draw. It played another way. Just wait for this to come up. So this declarer didn't get to game. It just went 1 heart, 1 spade, 2 clubs, 2 hearts. I think that's a little bit weak, that 2 heart bid, and so they missed out on bidding game. The defense again started off in diamonds, which declarer ruffed, and let's see what this declarer did. Well, they went to dummy with the ace of clubs, but instead of drawing trumps now, instead of leading a trump, they played diamonds. And by playing diamonds, which you can do, all you're doing is ruffing in the hand with the long trumps. And as I've said many times, ruffing in the hand with the long trumps rarely leads to any extra tricks. So let's see what happened here. They ruffed that first one. They played another club to dummy. And again, they're ruffing another diamond. Okay, this is bad news because you're shortening your trump holding. You're making it harder to draw trumps by playing this way, and you're not gaining any tricks at all by ruffing diamonds. What happened next? They played a spade now. Their opponents got in with the ace there. They played a club back, and of course, because declarer hadn't drawn trumps, it got ruffed. Okay, back came a diamond, which declarer was able to ruff. And I don't know if you can see at this point, declarer only has 2 trumps in each hand, while East has 3 trumps. So you've lost control of trumps here. Now declarer starts drawing trumps. They make the jack, and they play a spade back, which they take, and they play another spade. And interestingly, at this point, East has a choice of what to play. If I click on the GIB button, you can actually see that the right card for East to play is not to ruff this one at all, but to discard a diamond, and that will lead to just one over trick, in other words 9 tricks. But this particular East didn't find the right play. They ruffed, which was over ruffed. Declarer then played a club back, which East was able to ruff, and then Declarer took the last trick. So that again making 10 tricks there, rather than the 12 tricks that we'll see in a moment are possible. And really this Declarer focused on ruffing the diamonds, and it really is pointless. If that was you, or if you're one of the declarers who did ruff diamonds and there were more than one of them, you really need to think about what you're trying to achieve and how that helps you. Let's look at another one. This one was again reasonable bidding. 1 heart, 1 spade, 2 clubs, 3 hearts, 4 hearts. Let's see what happened here. Again, they started with the ace of diamonds. This time they played a spade over to the 10, which was beaten by the ace. Back came a club, which they won in dummy. And again, this declarer is playing diamonds, presumably intending to ruff the diamond. So they successfully ruffed the diamond. They then played a spade back, and now they're playing spades. Again, not having drawn trumps, they suffered a ruff here. Back came a club, which they won, and again they're still not drawing trumps. They're playing clubs here. If they're counting, they'll know that there's only 1 club out. So leading a club here, you're almost certain to get ruffed, which is what happened. Back came a spade, which again was ruffed. This time Declarer was able to over ruff, and still Declarer has sort of refusing to draw trumps here. I'm sometimes watch these hands and I'm sort of willing them to draw trumps, and I really don't understand what's going on. Anyway, they ruffed with the queen. That was over ruffed by the king, and then a diamond came back, which Declarer ruffed. Declarer finally draws a trump and makes that last trick. And actually, this Declarer went down in 4 hearts, suffering those ruffs. And again, it was caused by trying. So, how should you play this? You know, this is this was how it was played well once. The bidding was a little different here because East came in with a 2 diamond overcall. That's a reasonable overcall, slightly aggressive, but nonetheless, South got 4 hearts. And this is how it went this time. They took the ace of diamonds, which was ruffed. And what you want to do on this hand is get to dummy so that you can finesse in hearts. It's a way of avoiding a possible heart trick. You can get there with a club, or this Declarer tried to get there with a spade. They let them get there with the 10, and now North leads the Queen of Hearts. And I hope you can see North's trumps are so strong now, so that even if they cover the Queen with the King, the rest of your hearts will be good too. So this time they didn't cover, they let the Queen win. So North carried on with another heart. This time they played the King, they took the ace, and then they drew the last trump. And now all the trumps are gone. All you need to do is cash your clubs and cash your spades. You've still got a trump left, so when the opponents get in with the ace of spades, you'll be able to ruff whatever they play back. They play a diamond. So here they played a club first. They took their club tricks. Okay. At some point, they're going to play spades here. East gets in, but when a diamond comes back, you can ruff it, and you've got the last trick. So this really is a relatively straightforward hand to make 12 tricks, and yet a lot of people slipped up on this, either by attempting to ruff diamonds or failing to draw trumps. Those were the 2 most common errors that declarers made. Anyone have any comments or thoughts on that? there are some hands, in bridge that are really very tricky and very awkward, but I would say this one is not one of them. This one is relatively straightforward, and really everyone should be making 12 tricks on this one. So that was really a summary of what I was talking about, when you should draw trumps or when you should not draw trumps. Generally, do draw trumps if you can make the same number of tricks, but sometimes you delay drawing trumps for some reason. Sometimes you need to rough in the hand with the short trumps, but don't rough in the hand with the long trump suit unless you have a good reason to do so. It's one of the most common errors I see in declarer play. Okay, so let's have a look at another hand that was played in different ways and didn't always do very well. It's a sort of similar hand to the last one in terms of the bidding. Nearly everyone who played this in 4 spades, and the bidding was normally as shown something like that: 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, and then South supported spades by bidding 2 spades. I think South again with 11 points and a spade that should be 3 spades, but nonetheless North ended up in a 4 spade contract, which was what happened nearly everyone, and the opponents led the club on this occasion. And let's have a look at this from declarer's point of view. Declarer here is North, and I've got the second and final poll question of the evening for you, which is again looking at the hand from North's point of view, but taking into account all the strength in the South hand. How many potential losers does North have? How many potential losers, possible losers, do you think North has? So take a minute, count each suit one at a time, and identify how many possible losers you think North has. I'm hoping that by you doing this, you'll get into the habit of doing it, because it's really very useful in suit contracts. So let's launch the second poll for you. It's a very simple. And most of you have gone for 1. Most of you, 70%, said you've only got 1 loser. 15% said you have 2 losers. 11% said 3 losers. And 1 person said 4 losers. So what's the right answer? Well, what I advise you to do when you're counting your losers is that you do it in 2 stages. You start off by looking just at the losers in your own hand, but taking into account the high cards in dummy. So assuming, for example, that you might be drawing trumps, how many losers would you have? Well, you've got 1 loser, which is the ace of spades. In hearts, you have 2 losers. You have the ace and king, which are winners, and the 5 and 3 are losers. Those of you who said you don't think you've got any heart losers, which the majority of you would have thought so, are thinking you can avoid those losers by some means. And indeed, that's what we will do. But we start off with 2 potential heart losers. We don't have any diamond losers, and we don't have any club losers. But the correct answer to how many potential losers do you have is 3 losers, 1 spade and 2 hearts. Now, those of you who said you have maybe just 1 loser are presumably thinking you can get rid of the heart losers by roughing them, as indeed we hope to do. But this particular time it was played, I'll just show you how it was played. This particular declarer won that first trick and then just started drawing trumps. So they played the 10, they played the 4. They get a slightly bad trump break here. They're dividing 4-1. Club comes back, and this particular declarer then won the queen. They drew the last trump with the jack, and then they started playing the other suits. They took their jack of clubs, they took their ace of diamonds, they took their ace and king of hearts. And if I bring up the 4 hands, you can see that they're now going to lose 2 hearts. So they played a heart, which West took the last 2 hearts there, and declarer won the last trick. So this particular declarer didn't do any ruffing. This particular declarer just drew trumps and ended up with 10 tricks. They ended up with those 3 losers, 2 hearts and the ace of spades. Okay, so this was not played in the best possible way, because obviously those 2 heart losers you hope to get rid of by ruffing them in dummy, and to do that you must delay drawing trumps. Let's have a look at how it was played another time. Here the bidding went 1 spade, 2 diamonds, 2 hearts, 2 no trump. I can see why in itself bid 2 no trump, but really once your partner bids 2 suits, they're showing 5 in the first, so you should support them. Nonetheless, North ended up in 4 spades, and let's see what happened here. They led a club here, and declarer won that, and declarer here is starting on diamonds, and I fear that declarer is about to try to start ruffing diamonds here. Ruffing diamonds, you're ruffing in the long hand, and it does not help you at all. No, they didn't. They played a trump here. Okay, back came a club, and now they're starting to ruff diamonds. Again, a completely hopeless activity, but that's what they did. Now they drew another trump, and they've drawn 1 more trump. They made a mistake here, because here they played the jack and 10 of spades on the same trick. So now East is always going to get the 8 of spades there. They now played on hearts. They took the ace and the king, but there are no more trumps in dummy, so all they can do, well, they tried to cash the club, but the 8 of spades won that trick. Back came a heart, and the opponents were able to take the last 2 hearts. So this particular declarer only made 9 tricks on this one. So again, they sort of suffered from not drawing trumps, and they suffered from trying to ruff diamonds. It played another way. See what happened this time. Again, a club was led, and they're playing a diamond here. And again, they're doing what they shouldn't be doing, which is ruffing in the long hand. They're ruffing diamonds here. Now they're playing their ace and king of hearts. And it looks like they're trying to cross ruff here. Okay, but let's see what happens. By playing a diamond back here, they're ruffing, and because they get a bad break, they're in danger of losing control of trump here. So back comes another heart, which they ruff. They play a diamond back, ruffing that one successfully, but they've completely lost control of trumps here. East is sitting there with 4 trump, and so he takes that one, plays a spade, and he's going to win the last 2 tricks. So again, declarer only made 10 tricks there, whereas it should have made 12 tricks. Let's have a look at it, how it should have gone. Played in 4 spades. They led a club again, and what you've got to do on this hand is, realizing that you want to ruff 2 hearts in dummy, you must realize that you must delay drawing trumps. So you delay drawing trumps until you've got those 2 ruffs. Now, it's interesting to think what you want to ruff with here, because you've got 6 hearts, 4 in your own hand and 2 in dummy. That means your opponents have got 7, and you're hoping that they divide 4 and 3. So what you're planning to do by ruffing them twice is, you're going to ruff the first one low, or maybe with a 7, and the second one with a 10. So it can only be over-ruffed by the ace. So that's what we're going to try and do. Let's win that first trick, and because we're not going to draw trumps right away, because we want to ruff hearts, we're going to start with hearts. We're going to take the ace and king, and then we're going to play another heart, and we're going to try to ruff this one. Let's try and ruff it with the 7. If we're lucky, the ruff will succeed. And now what? Well, now we want to get back to the north hand so that we can ruff our last heart. How can we get back to the north hand here? Anyone like to suggest a way. Do unmute yourselves if you'd like to speak up.
Nine of clubs.
A club, yeah, a low club is the right way. Some people sometimes think you can get back with a trump, but that probably won't work, because if you lead a trump, someone might win the ace and then draw your last trump. So yeah, the 9 of clubs is the right thing to do. Get back over there and ruff your last heart. And here actually you were prepared to ruff it high with the 10, but East discards here. So you know that the last heart is with West. There's no need to ruff high. You can afford to ruff high or low. It doesn't really matter, because West is going to have to follow suit. Now you've done that, all you need to do is get back to the north hand and draw trump. So we've done our ruffing. There's no more ruffing to be done. We need to just draw trumps now. Let's play the 10. And here your trumps are so good that you really want to overtake this so that you can continue drawing trumps. So play the king there, and then just keep playing trumps. Eventually the ace is going to come out. But whatever they play back here, you've got a diamond. You can win if they play a diamond. And at this point, there's actually still one trump out. And so you want to draw it. And the only way back to draw it is to ruff a diamond. So this is an example of you ruff a diamond here, not to make any extra tricks, because you're ruffing in the long hand, but just because this is the only way back to your hand. So you ruff with the 2 of spades, and if that wins, you can now draw the last trump and take the last club. So again, as I said on this one, everyone really should have made 12 tricks, but very few people did, and they fell into the habit of either making the mistake of drawing trumps right away, or of doing other things like ruffing diamonds. But really, you just want to ruff those 2 hearts if possible in dummy, and that's the way to make 12 tricks. Anyone have any comments or questions on that?
Yes, Tony, it's Fiona here. Would you not consider investigating a slam with so few losers in North?
Right. Yeah, I mean, North does have very few losers here. How many is it? It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. I mean, South, from their bidding, they're showing better than absolute minimum. They've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 losers. Yeah. So they have that's what that 3 spade bid should show, an 8 loser hand. But you've got 5 losers, haven't you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you've got 5 losers. So perhaps you're just 1 loser too many to look for a slam.
Okay.
I mean, it needs a little bit of luck to make the 12 tricks. You have to successfully be able to ruff those 2 hearts. But for those who played this, making 12 tricks in 4 spade contract was a great score, because very few people succeeded.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts? Any other questions? So that's the summary of today. Think carefully about drawing trumps. Generally, do not ruff in the hand with the long trumps, even if you've got a void created. It very rarely will benefit you. So do try to make a plan. I've realised, watching on Real Bridge and BBO, that this is one of the biggest errors that a lot of declarers are still making. They're ruffing in the long hand, or they're failing to draw trumps, or sometimes they're drawing trumps when they shouldn't. So these are all the errors that, if you can eliminate those, you'll definitely boost your scores. We'll end the talk in a minute there. I'll just stop sharing and just ask you if anyone here needs a partner.